Hi guys, this is week 38 Project Life, and if you saw last week, this is actually week 38 Project Life, and I'm starting with the very few photos that I actually had this week. This was a really super hard week, long work hours, so photos just kind of fell by the wayside. I am picking out a few cards, and I chose that purple one purely based on the fact that I loved the purple, and although it's really hard to see here on this card, I had picked out a 3x4 card first that had a grid on it, and I swapped that out for another grid because the grid is in the same purple. And apart from that, I used my two 4x6 cards from the Citrus Twist kit last week, so I'm just picking out some of the 6x8 papers. And again, I got this weird colour scheme this week because I picked this alphabet paper just purely because I loved the colour of it. And now that I see it again on camera, it sort of goes nicely with my selfie with Lily there. I guess it's sort of, you know, the same tones as my skin tone, so that sort of works nicely. And for my title card, I just picked a more neutral, it's sort of a grey pattern, a black and white pattern. I did have a rainbow stripe up there, but once I picked out the purple and the peachy sort of corally red colour, I figured grey would go a bit better. Now I've got this huge pack of die cut pieces that I am going to speedily go through, and all I was doing was picking out any that were purple. I noticed that there were a few that were that same purple, and any that might be sort of a similar corally pink as well. And I did pull out three sort of larger pieces, and a couple of them I'll end up using the back side of them. I'm going to add some journaling this week. Shock horror, I know. And only a few pieces, but I like the way that just adding those few extra little purple embellishments does tie the whole page together. Otherwise the purple sort of sat there is a bit of an anomaly, really. It's not like there's any purple in my photos or anything like that, so this really does tie it all together, adding that little purple banner, and there's some purple in the florals for my title card, as well as that purple label that I'll add to my title card as well. So you can see here I've added two of these larger pieces, and I have added them upside down, so it just gives me a bit of white space to do some journaling. I figured since there weren't many photos this week, I have done an enlargement, a 6x8 enlargement, so I thought I would add a little bit of journaling instead of my usual photo heavy layout. Now I'm going to work on my title card, and you can see here the sort of very subtle pattern that this paper has. The stamp set from the Pocket Life kit has this really great week stamp, which is perfect, except that these alphas don't have numbers. So I was trying to work out how I could add 38 with these alphas, and I decided, since there were quite a few B's in this packet, and I don't tend to use B's a lot, I guess, that I would try and manipulate these letters to make 38. So by cutting off the side of the B, I managed to get a 3, and then I'm going to cut a couple of these B's in half and sort of add them together to make an 8. Now, you'll see later on, I decide against this. You probably could get away with these, but I really wasn't happy with it. I loved the little pop of blue that it added, and I loved the size of these alphas, so I was really keen to add it. It's almost exactly the same height as the week stamp, so it would have been perfect, but it definitely looks like letters that have been pieced together rather than actual numerals, but you'll see my solution to that later on. I'm going to sort of hide this week stamp underneath a couple of these floral pieces here. So I was just working out roughly where to stamp it, and I'm just going to stamp it in black ink. There's a couple of other black pieces that I'll add to this page, so the black was going to work fine. There is a little space in this week stamp. You'll see a couple little lines there that match that stamp set, so there are sentiments that you could add into it, but I decided to leave it plain. So I'm just slightly hiding the stamped week behind these florals. And this pink one here I am adding off to the side so that I can cut off the brown piece, because I wasn't super keen on the brown. And I'm going to add my my fake numerals in here. It probably doesn't look so bad now that I'm actually like looking at it again, but I wasn't happy with it, and you can see why. The 8 doesn't really match up properly. At a pinch it probably would have worked, but I was already unhappy at this point. I decided just to carry on and try and live with it, but you'll see that that doesn't last very long. Don't often go back and change things that I'm unhappy with in my project life. I'm more just a kind of get it done and move on kind of person, but this one really did irritate me, so I go back and fix it. I've added my date stamps to that label, and I like the placement of it, of that whole card. I just don't love the 38, so everything else is going to stay pretty much exactly the same. There are these really pretty gold foil, they're not quite black, sort of charcoal stickers in the kit, so I'm just going to add, my plan was to add 2 of them onto these 3x4 cards because I'm not really going to add anything else, but they looked a tiny bit lonely on their own, so I added a 3rd one to the top. And then the gold foil, it's got this really beautiful gold foil on these stickers, but it kind of stuck out quite badly because there was no gold anywhere else. So if you've seen my September favorites, you'll know this is like my new favorite washi tape, and it is almost exactly the same gold. So I decided to add just a little bit of that in there to try and help tie in some of that gold a bit more. So I added 2 pieces to those 3x4 cards, and then I decided to add a little bit more around the rest of the page. So I'm just going to peel up the label that I had stuck down already, and luckily I didn't add a lot of glue, so it peeled up all right. So add a little bit up there, and then to sort of bring it down to the bottom right, I'm going to add a little bit to this card as well, and again just peel off the die cut that I have already stuck down, which luckily peeled off okay as well. I think it tore a little bit, but it was just the die cut piece that tore rather than my photo, and once I stick it down in almost the exact same place, and it covers that all up. So you can see that this week is again another week that is super simple, so I was just going to add in some handwritten journaling, and again I don't often handwrite, I'm not super fond of my handwriting, but I had already stuck everything down, otherwise I would have normally stuck those little pieces onto a piece of scrap paper and run it through my typewriter. That's my preferred way of adding journaling to anything really, but this handwriting's definitely quicker, it's just not as visually pleasing to me. So here you go, I thought I was done. I went to turn my camera off and thought, oh no, I don't think I can live with that, and immediately peeled them off and felt better about it. So I decided to go with the exact same stamp set that I used last week. I've even pulled out that same blue ink because I did like the way that the blue tied in some of the blue in my photographs. So I'm using that same, that's an exclusive Citrus Twist stamp from a few months ago I think. And now I can call it done and walk away and feel happy about it. So let me know down below, would you have left it with those handmade alphas, or would you have done what I did and re-stamped them? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye!